From Cape Cocker, it's possible to take a 3-day, 2-night sailing trip along the Belizean Berger Reef. It was an amazing experience. We spent the time just floating, fishing, eating, relaxing. At one point, the captain of the ship had jumped over, literally just kind of, all right, I think I'll be back. Boom. Pops over the side, and we were obviously sailing quite slow. But then he just drifted behind the boat, and he would swim down, and he would bring back up large conch. And you know, the conch is what you're probably familiar with from seeing in movies, and it's the horn or the shell that you can turn into a horn, and you lift it to your lips and you blow it, and you could call mermaids or between islands. So he had the conch, and the conch is actually also quite tasty, but he needed to clean it. So he was on the boat as we continued to sail along, and as that was happening, he'd sit in the back and punch a hole to release the foot, take the conch out, and then clean it. But as he was doing this, he would periodically find a large, or not periodically, with every single conch, he would find this large tubular piece of conch that actually looked a lot like spaghetti. And so he would pull this clear piece of spaghetti out, covered in conch guts, rinse it off a little bit, and then slurp it down. So he did this a few times, and I'm sitting there talking to him. And then he decided he was going to share. So he kind of holds it up to me, and I was like, what is it? This is a Belizean specialty. And you know, anytime anybody tells you that, you know you're eating something probably a little bit quirky. But eager to try it, unsure what I was trying beyond the fact that it was raw conch, I took it, slurped it down after looking at it, and it looked a lot like a piece of uncooked spaghetti or cooked spaghetti that wasn't quite ready yet. And it tasted about the same, slightly salty, slightly chewy, slightly rubbery. And that was more or less the end of it. That was until about 2 months later, when I was sitting around with a friend who was a marine biologist, and we were talking about funny things that we've eaten and different travel experiences. And I said, oh yeah, I ate raw conch at one point. And she was like, oh yeah, well, what did you eat? I said, well, I don't know. It was this long tubular thing, or this piece of raw spaghetti. And at that point in time, she just cracks up laughing, and she's just looking at me, and she's like, you really had no idea what you were eating? I said, no, not at all. She said, well, that's one you're gonna have to look up. So I said, all right, what is it? And at this point, you know, like a small bit of dread kind of creeping up my throat. And so I Google it, and it says, well, conch verge. And I'm like, verge, what's that? So then I look into it a little bit more, and then I realized that it had been conch penis that I'd been eating. So it was decent, it was surprising. Can't say it's something I'll seek out in the future, but it was fine Belizean delicacy, and something worth trying if you ever get the opportunity. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Hopefully it made you laugh, made you chuckle, made you grimace, and perhaps inspired you to travel. I always say I travel for the misadventures as much as the adventures. Please subscribe, leave a comment, it would be great. Your feedback means the world to me, and definitely, as always, check out virtualwayfarer.com for more in-depth stories about my travels.